Planets have a north.
My name is Christian Basil. Years ago, I had an idea. I got myself a TARDIS. Took it to new places, met a lot of new people, took some great pictures, and talked Doctor Who. From Krypton Radio and the creators of the Hanging With web show, this is the legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Join me on my latest adventures and become part of the legend. And no, ladies and gentlemen, you are not reading our thumbnail wrong. Today, we're going to be reviewing the first episode of Doctor Who of the reboot series in 2005, Rose. And people have been asking me why are we doing this, because what started all of this is we're going to be going forward to the 60th anniversary, but since we're not getting any new episodes, we're going to go back. How long is it? Oops, wrong doctor. Okay. We're going to be going back and we're reviewing some of the stuff. Now, the reason why we are going back to what I'm now calling ClassicNu WHO is because I put a meme up on the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. It was a picture of Love and Monsters. I don't have the meme with me, but it's a picture of Elton, and he's saying that line at the very end, you know, life is so much darker and dangerous and so much better, or something. I'm totally paraphrasing. Hey, Alicia, that people have been asking, hey, what did you guys think of Love and Monsters? And I said, well, we never reviewed it, so we've never gone back to it. And then people continued to ask. Now, they've been asking before about what we thought about, you know, everything before Jodie. But you got to remember, we started the Saturday before Jodie premiered. And we were actually in audio, only 30 minutes long. And the only way you could find us was on like Spotify or Spreaker or something like that. And then we grew up into iHeartRadio, and just couple of years back, we decided to go on. Ooh, I love that little chime. We decided to go on YouTube. That's okay, Dave. We decided to go on YouTube, but we've reviewed everything. And a couple times we did actually go back into some classic Who stuff, like we did, I think, the 30th anniversary of the TV movie. And we did that. And we've done some Big Finish, but nothing on the scale of going back all the way to Eccleston's time. So everything we reviewed is either Jodie and moving forward, but nothing in the past. So while we're moving forward, we're going to go back, and we're starting from the very beginning in 2005 with Rose, with the reboot. Well, that's not even a good word for it. So I think, what would be a better term? The continuing episodes of the Doctor, post 1989, when the series went off the air for Survival. Then it had a little coming back on 1996 with the TV movie starring Paul McGann, and now we're here at 2005 with the very first episode, Rose, and this new producer, young producer named Russell T Davies, this actor named Christopher Eccleston. What did I just miss?
Oh, calling him young. He would love you for that.
Yeah, well, to me, he was young. I like the only thing I remember was what was it? The Second Coming, which I only see part of, and he did another series. God, why is it just uncrossing my mind?
He created the original Queer as Folk.
Queer as Folk, that's right. So there you go. Hello, Tony. So today, without further ado, we're going to be reviewing Rose in its entirety, and you guys are joining in on the live chat. Let me go ahead and bring up everybody to the Return of Doctor Who. Yes, Andrew. Eccleston often skips, sadly, but without him, no 60th to celebrate. Well, depends. I know Big Finish is doing something special. So without further ado, hi, Miss Christia. Yep, we're on Pensacon. Happy Tuesday to you, too. Let me go ahead and introduce the team today, who's going to be helping us... Hold on a second, get their microphones going. First of all, just in case he needs to go, we're going to go ahead and bring up our good friend, the lovely Dave Chapman of the Rathole.ca. How's it going there, Dave?
Wait, there's a lovely version of me somewhere?
There is a lovely.
Where? Hi.
It's behind the door, I'm assuming.
So yeah, no, I just got home late last night from basically Salt Lake City, where I was at SaltCon, 4-day gaming convention. I was there essentially as a player. I wasn't working with a publishing company. I did a little bit of my media stuff, but not a lot. But it was a chaotic 4 days. Drive down, do the thing, drive back. I'll eventually be asleep.
Sorry.
Gotcha.
That one's on Twitch. That one has to get killed from Twitch.
I know. I was trying to click on one thing and it clicked on that. I'm like,
whoopsie.
Yeah, we will, Twitch viewers, eventually get some bots to moderate stuff.
We should have bots.
Kenzie to fix it for us.
Oh, that's what that meant. Oh, okay, I understand. Okay, sorry.
And you heard her lovely voice. Let's bring her up. The lovely Melanie Dean at Pieces of Melee on Instagram. She does her live feed over there, so you can see what she's
in my blue room today because I have a different. So that's why it's gonna be hard for me to look at y'all, and then I'm gonna be looking at another monitor because I forgot my camera. So I have just my laptop up, and I have my main one up. So I'm like, So
she will be producing today, so make sure you get those chats in there. We're going to be doing, and if this is your first time seeing us doing a review, we'll explain to you how we do our reviews. There, Melanie, just real quick, how you doing there?
I'm doing quite well. I'm going crazy because MegaCon is around the corner, and exactly right after that is Star Wars Celebration. So I'm trying to get a costume done. And that's what Christian was talking about on Instagram. I go live a lot there, trying to get this cosplay finished and wrapped up, and trying to get stuff done for commissions and stuff done for MegaCon. So I'm going crazy, and I cut my finger, but it's okay.
No problem there. And we just want to welcome, while we're talking about sorry, go ahead. Oh God, no. You can have a boo-boo, you can have a cute boo-boo there.
Well, heck yeah. I'm an adult. I can buy my own Band-Aids.
We just want to welcome everybody from Pensacon that we celebrated February 24th to the 26th. Speaking of which, Christopher Eccleston was there, and I do have proof. There he is. Thank you, Daniel, from the Daleks of Roscoe Dalek Builders. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Wasn't expecting it, and I owe him a great gratitude there. And want to welcome anybody who's joining us for the very first time from Pensacon. Thank you for joining us on the team out there. And Melanie mentioned MegaCon, which will be taking place at the end of this month. It's I believe my brain March 30th to April 2nd. Yes. March 30th through April 2nd. So get your tickets now. We will be in a line with the Daleks of Florida. So we're going to be together as a joint Whovian team. So make sure you come out there and check us out. And don't forget that we're going to have Daleks. You can't miss us. We're going to have Daleks 2nd. Right behind us.
MegaCon goes to April 2nd, and then I'm going to be going to London April 2nd.
Right.
Crazy.
Can we announce it, Melanie? What's going to happen next? The next destination after MegaCon?
After MegaCon, I will be bringing the Traveling TARDIS to London.
Awesome.
So, here we go again.
I hate this blue box. It's his third time going. It's my 0 time going with this.
That's
so
great.
We'll plan some sort of meetup if you're going to Star Wars Celebration, let me know. We can meet up then. Otherwise, my Whovian friends, we can meet up at some point, get photos with the TARDIS so that we can show them up here on the show and all that kind of fun stuff. But unfortunately, you have to also see me. So that'll be the week of
That's the
April
best
2nd
part.
on.
Exactly.
Yay!
Well,
We can
that
go
other
to
voice that you're
Wetherspoons and
hearing
have cider.
is Kevo from Husbands Talking More or Less. Check out
That
his
is
show,
right.
and you've got some banner thing going. I love this.
I do, and I was explaining backstage. The shades are because I do what you guys do now. I produce my husband's comics podcast, which had been a podcast for several years, has gone live streaming show. We do a live show that is now set for Sunday nights at 7 p.m. and we talk comics, mostly focused on Marvel and X-Men, but a whole bunch of different titles. And I produce, and so I have to do all the stuff you guys do. Hello, with like the comments and like the banners and arranging
Feel
everyone.
my pain. Feel our pain there. I know.
Well, and we have segments too, is the thing. Like, so we have like a set segment where we talk about a specific title with a set number of people.
Right.
Then we break. Then we talk about another title. And so I have to pull people out and then put new people in and have these things and graphics ready to put up. You guys, you should have warned me. But you know. Hats
We
even more off
did.
to you.
It would have been.
doing there.
You never did. You lied.
No, because it would have been scary, and
Melanie
it's
did.
once you do it, it's secondhand. You got this.
You've seen what we do here. It's craziness. I know
It's
just
fun.
like-
It really
It
is.
is fun, but it's crazy too. There. Speaking of crazy, we're gonna end our final panelist over there, Dr. Freedom himself. Check him out on the YouTube channel at Freedom. He's always talking in his parking lot in his car. If you want to get Doctor Who news and opinions going on there, Doc, how you doing?
Yeah, we the parking lot thing's the daily thing. Yeah, it's about 5:20 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, I'm not up live for that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have to be there, but it's I figure why not? I've got a few minutes. When I get into the parking lot, I might as well share that time with some people out there. So.
And what I think is funny is the one time that I was actually chatting with you live, I was actually en route to Pensacola. That was the morning I stopped it for a break. I stopped to go to the bathroom, and that's the only time I've actually been able to chat. Oh, he's live. Let's go ahead and I can actually talk with him right now. He's up at the hour I am. So I was heading over to Pensacola. So it was a nice little chat. I was like, yeah, I'm here. Dan Bryan, I'm waking up at that time. So this is how it's going to work with folks. Just to let you know, what we do is on a scale of 1 to 10, one TARDIS being 10 TARDISes being like the best. We're going to be rating the show, and then we're going to break it down from the person who's got the least score to the person who's got the highest score. So without further ado, let's go show how it works. And just in case, we might start with Dave because I know he has to leave early. So Dave, without further ado, please give me your number 1 to 10. How would you rate Rose? A 4.
Blasphemy!
10. Wow.
I know I'm going to be the odd one out, and I'm just waiting.
Are you doing it intentionally so you can get out first? Is that what that is?
And I'm waiting to get flayed by the comment section.
Oh, it's gonna. Hey. Don't forget, you can check him out over at theredhall.ca. Send all your comments out there. Since you're over there on the other side, Dr. Freedom.
Sure, yeah. Go to all my videos. Flame me for not liking.
That's right.
On my videos. Hey, the algorithm will love it. That's the there we go. That is what I'm waiting for.
Lost one.
You already lost one. Sorry.
You said it like Rose.
Yeah, true.
Rose the episode.
Yep.
All right, Dr. Freedom, give us a number there, sir.
I gave it a 10.
Oh wow!
Different
because
cast.
it's good for what it is. So.
So you're not going first there. You're not going first there, Brian. Melanie, how would you rate this episode, Rose?
I was gonna joke saying a 4, but I was gonna do it as a joke, and then this Yahoo up here says 4 and is real about it.
Oh, he's not joking. That's the thing.
So I'm gonna give it. I'll give it 7.5 because I'm right between 7 and an 8.
Gotcha.
Because there's room to grow, and they do.
We are exploding a TARDIS on your behalf.
I'm cutting a TARDIS in half because it's not a 7, but it's not quite an 8.
Right.
And I
And
tend to
later,
think
and
of
folks, while we're getting our numbers there, and when we do our reviews, we'll get to you as soon as we get to our reviews. We'll get to your numbers and see what you rated Rose out there. And last but not least, definitely, Kevo, what did you rate this episode?
I was going to say 7, but now since Dave said 4, I'm gonna drop mine down to a 6. I feel a little bit safer saying that, and I mean the way a
Don't be
6.
afraid of what you rated. I don't think these guys were Whovians.
No,
We won't. We
I
won't.
think
do
Alicia
that.
may have blocked me.
I mean 6 on the way it should be scaled on a scale of 1 to 10, not on the American academic system where a 60 is basically failing. Like 6 is not terrible.
Yes.
Yeah. So what's the order then? Dave first, obviously.
Well, Dave first, obviously, just in case, because I know you have to go there, Dave. So we're going to go ahead and start it off before we get to a commercial break. Dave. Oh, okay.
Oh, it's fabulous.
I've seen the number of the comments jumping up, so I don't know what the comments say yet, but go ahead.
I think Mackenzie's live streaming on her Twitch channel, which is why I think we're getting that secondary through there. But yeah, no. To be fair, we decided on doing this while I was on the road, so I did not have a chance to rewatch Rose.
Oh,
so
okay.
there's a chance
Gotcha.
that in the last couple of years since I last watched it, that it's will have grown on me or something like a mold. But I started Doctor Who back up with Matt Smith.
Grow on you like a mold. I just caught that, you son of a. He just went down to a 3, y'all.
Oh.
Oops. But I
came
came in once it had already caught its stride. Right? And that's
okay.
The thing. I understand where if I had watched this when it first came out, maybe I'd have a different feeling. Maybe I would. Keeping in mind, my favorite Doctor is 7, who is without a doubt the goofiest of all the Doctors.
So he started off goofy. He
got darker as well. He started out very goofy. Like he was a physical comedy guy, but the goofiness and the weirdness of this episode didn't sit well with me and it just never kind of regained that footing with me. It seems it has always compared itself to everything after.
Were there any specific moments that dropped this down? Hello, Sarah. Yeah, and I got to agree with Sarah. It was the foundation, and it's as much as, and I know people who rated this episode low, and I'll attest. I'm
Cat alert.
Where is it? Yep. For those of you who are new, yep, there we go. The Traveling TARDIS cat alert. Anytime a cat pops up on the screen, we put the cat alert, and that's that speaker right there. He's really impressed about the right next to him. So,
Petrie wants to be on camera.
What moments in Rose were off-putting for you? Like it didn't hit you in the right spots.
Mickey's the plastic version, really just the Autons as a general rule. I just didn't love most of them. Like that particular scene wasn't so bad. Like they were a little bit weeping angelish right there. Right? Where it's like, okay, great, there's a mannequin. Now there's a mannequin moved. But the actual, once they start being more than just a, there, like that looks just, that's goofy, even just that. The budget on was just low. And that's just what it was. They didn't have 110% faith in this new Doctor Who coming back. So they didn't give it the budget that it deserved or needed. So yeah, it was just it's
hard to watch.
Yeah, it's hard to watch based on what it came at, how much better everything got.
All right.
And having started with the better.
Yeah.
So if I had started it, my camera's bouncing because the cat is now itching his face on the laptop screen.
This camera does not stay still unless I say it stays still.
So yeah, it's not it's an entirely personal thing. It is not a meant to be derogatory. It's not this is not necessarily a bad episode, and it's certainly no slight against Billie Piper or Rose the character. But that the episode Rose just has never been. I just don't like it.
Okay. And this, let me get to some chats and then we'll get to a commercial break. Andrew Moore says, as a reintroduction to the show, introducing a new doctor, new companion, it worked really well. The Auton story was secondary to me.
I got that.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily disagree with that.
Someone else on our stream agrees with Dave. What other comments did we have, Melanie? Sarah Glover. Hey, I think the whole Clyde thing helped me understand who the doctor was as a child who had never heard of Doctor Who before. And this is an interesting point. It's at the foundation allowing New Who to continue. Yeah, and this is an interesting point because, and in fact, when we review Kevo, I have a bit of a personal question for you. Sure. Because you started in New Who, right? When you go to folks like myself, I think Dave and everybody else in the chat, we started a little bit in the Classic Who. So we're coming from a different perspective than we were going into New Who. You jumped on it. And then let me just ask this before your commercial break. Was Rose your first episode?
My first one watched, but I didn't start then.
Gotcha.
It was my first, yeah.
It was okay.
We'll talk more after.
No, that's fine. When we go to commercial break, when we return, please continue to stay logged on, tuned in. We're going to continue our discussion and our review with Rose. Enjoy. Don't forget to put your comments in the chat so we can talk and show what you've said. When we return, please continue to stay logged on, tuned in, and become part of the legend. Hello, Sophie. We'll be right back.
Me, the Doctor.
I'm the Doctor.
But not the one you were expecting.
All right, sexy. It's time to go home.
Doctor Who Velocity, streaming now.
Oh, brilliant! It's hard to believe that in the 56-year history of the greatest sci-fi television show in the English language, there has never been a fan guide to Doctor Who. The official books might give you what they think you need to know, but only a guide written by a true fan will give you what you really want to know. Join Whovian, the brilliant Mackenzie Flaw, as she takes you on an intensive journey inside the world of the first female Doctor. In the Binge Watcher's Guide to Doctor Who, Season 11. Right, let's get a shift on.
Send all your hate mail to the rathole.ca and Dave Chapman will be more than happy to respond to your comments. Welcome to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basil. Thank you for joining us. Again, tonight we've got a special. As we move forward towards the 60th anniversary, we're going to be looking back into what I've called Classic New Who. Some people call it New Who. I'm now called it Classic New Who. Everything before Jodie at this moment, because that's the only things we haven't reviewed as far as the new Who. So we got a lot to cover, ground to cover, but definitely we want to get your input. Please like, share, subscribe. Dan Hollyfield says, back when it first came on, I thought it was awesome, and having seen every episode since, I've given it a 7 script-wise, somewhere around an average Tom Baker episode when those were new. Thank you for joining us. And thank you, Dan, for your comment down there. My name is Christian Basil. That is Dave Chapman. That is Dr. Freedom all the way at the other end. This is Kevo. Really? from Husbands Talking More or Less, and all the way to the other is the lovely Melanie Dean at Pieces of Melee on the Instagram. If you want to see some cool stuff being made in real time, definitely want to subscribe and check her out there. Speaking of which, oh, hello, TARDIS Spider. Thank you. TARDIS Spider, let me know if you want me to come on your show. If you're coming to MegaCon, definitely we'll do something down there. And I'm sorry we didn't meet up over at Pensacon, but definitely. TARDIS Spider says, when New Who began, I've been watching for 25 years, and to me, Rose really covered all the bases of what the show was going to be. I think... I don't want to speak for Kevo, so let me put it this. I'm just going to say this line right here, Kevin, and then I'll get to your review because you gave it a 6. Next item up for bids. It was, as the TV movie was a bridge between classic and new, this brought in the old and joined it in with the new. Because of all the things, it started with, you would think with Doctor Who would start with the Daleks or the Centaurans or the Cybermen. It started with the Autons, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, Dr. Freedom only appeared once. I don't think they ever came back again until New Who. I think that was the only time that I can think of off the top of my head from Spearheads from Space, which was the first John Pertwee episode. But you come in from a different perspective. You come in as New Who. So, rated a 6, tell us what happened with Rose. Well, the good, the bad, and the nesting consciousness.
Well, I have a two-prong response to this episode, too, because I didn't just watch this episode. I read the novelization of this episode.
Oh, okay. Cool beans.
And I cannot recommend it. That was the end of the sentence. I cannot recommend it. So I don't remember being very aware of Doctor Who before I started watching it, really. I first discovered Torchwood and binged all of series 1, and then 2 months later, this nerd in my English class was like, if you like that show, why don't you watch this other show, Doctor Who? And I was like, fine, okay, I'll marry you. And so I watched all of series 1 and 2 of Doctor Who the night that series 3 premiered. So I had 28 episodes, 26, 27, whatever it was, right away, and then went into series 3. So not only did I start with New Who, I didn't even start at the start of New Who, technically. Now I'm old school. Now I've been watching it for 16 years. But I do see where starting later does affect your perception then, because even by series 7 the graphics had improved dramatically, and the show was a lot more worn in. We had a doctor that was a little bit more familiar to audiences, so it was like I was a little bit more indoctrinated more easily. So I loved Rose for many years just for being from the batch. And there are those beautiful moments, the scene of them walking from the Powell estate and the turn of the earth, and cute little jokes, lots of planets heaven north. There's a lot of great stuff in it. I'm not saying there isn't, but I really do have to agree. A lot of the graphics look kind of dated. I don't think they look as bad as some people were complaining. I watched the episode just before doing this with our boyfriend, and I turned to him, I was like, this for 2005, this is not terrible. Even the Mickey thing for 2005, Once Upon a Time barely looked better in 2011, trust me. But a lot of things are kind of cheesy, awkward. A lot of the dialogue, I think if they'd had their feet a little bit more wet, they would have had things a little bit more naturally, a little more down pat. I'm not sure, though, because after reading the novelization, there's still so many huge flaws in that, too. And there's a lot of weird stuff. Like, I can't figure out the tone of this book and who it's for. There's times where I feel like I'm reading one of my old, Power Rangers episode novelizations. Like, this is for kids. And there's times where, there's a page and a half of backstory on Clive and how he met his wife. Who is this for? So it's just a very odd experience. There's interesting tidbits, things from Rose's backstory that have always been there since 2005. There's a lot of wink nudge, like she remembers the guy who told her she was going to have a really good year, but so far it hasn't been great. But it was weird. It's better on TV, trust me.
I get the feeling. Did you understand from Rose now that you've seen future? I'm sure you've seen some classic stuff, right? Did you understand who the Doctor was at the time, and especially when he gives that speech? The turn of the earth and everything. Did you have an impression of who the Doctor was, and it was the impression that you would later on be satisfied with what you knew about classic Who?
And what I would learn.
Exactly. I'm trying to get it up. I wasn't going up.
Yeah, no, I get it. Dude, does having a completely cold impression of Doctor Who with no idea of the history reconcile with everything that I've learned since about the Time Lords and Romana and
Right.
the Master and everything? I will say this. Maybe that's why I am not as bothered by the Timeless Child. Because to me, the Doctor was just introduced as this wandering immortal.
Mm-hmm.
With there was no concept of whether or not they were going to bring the Time Lords back. As we saw from the fact that Russell never did. He never really had a plan for that. He did that one and done and left them gone again. But he never really, after 60 episodes, had an intention of us seeing them again. So it might really have just only ever been the Doctor ever again. So for me, the Doctor has always been a stranger to those people. So I didn't know the Time Lords. I
Right.
know them more, and I've said this in the past, I know them more as villains.
Red bicycle for Christmas. Thank you, Ramona.
Because for the last 18 years, they've been really more featured as villains than there has ever really been a Time Lord ally that we've seen. So, and that's another reason that I'm like, I don't really care.
And
Good.
technically, they were all dead. You never saw Arc of Infinity or the Five Doctors or any of that. So
I never saw Trial of a Time Lord to have it. Like, there was like a few months ago, we were talking and you guys brought up the Valyard. And I was like, I don't even know who that is. It's been 30 years. I don't know who the Valyard is. So, and that's a really interesting, it's really weird to think that all of Classic Who is pre-millennium. Like, there has been no Classic Who in this century. That's just so weird.
It's like somebody coming in through the sequel trilogy and never seeing Star Wars and not understanding, and then going back and watching Star Wars like, oh, what the heck? I did not know that there was a sequel, an original 3 trilogy, let alone a prequel trilogy. So coming into this timeline, I could see, and I wrote an article that for D-Red's Clownfish TV, which was an article called "I Love Matt Smith. He's my favorite Third Doctor," and it was yeah, you remember that article?
I remember that.
I never hear that though, so that's so funny.
No,
Yeah,
I've never
heard him referred to as the Third Doctor. I've never heard that.
I believe you though, because kids are wild.
It was one time, but it was one time when the kid came up. He was dressed up like Matt Smith, and he told me he was the favorite Third Doctor, and I just said, I grew up knowing only Tom Baker thanks to PBS. I didn't know anything beforehand. Valyar Metacrisis. I didn't know anything beforehand. So to begrudge kids who are growing up not knowing that there was this great amount of history that has taken place that evolved to here, I don't understand why they're confused, because then I had PBS finally say, oh yeah, by the way, we're going to have the 5 Doctors episode. I'm like, 5? Not knowing my guy's 4. I'm just like, I always thought it was 1. He comes back in robot, he climbs up a tower, he falls down, he dies, he turns blonde, and it starts all over again. So it wasn't fair to me, but instead of, in which some fans I don't really, some fans will go, and this isn't in every genre, they'll start, just kind of insulting fans that don't know any better or don't want to. And I said, when I go to panels and stuff like that, I want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Everybody has the same understanding. I think Dr. Freedom, I told you, there was a young kid who hit me up the wall when I mentioned the CIA for Genesis of the Daleks. And he goes, the Doctor never worked for the CIA. And I said, Celestial Intervention Agency. It was called the CIA. He thought I was talking about the CIA. But instead of, bashing this kid, I said, here's the link to Wikipedia. Here's more information. But yes, he was working for the CIA, and they were a big part. They were kind of like the Captain Jack's of the Time Lords. The Time Lords didn't want to interfere, so they sent in the CIA to take care of business, and that's when they hired the Doctor. But yeah, I'm just rambling on at this point. So, but yeah, I just want to give, just trying to encapsulate the history of this, because I only know from my time, I can only think of somebody who started in 1963 from the very beginning and seeing things through the prism of that time, to somebody who's probably coming in, with Ncuti Gatwa, how they're going to see things in that perspective out there.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, the lovely Melanie, the lovely Melanie Dean is up. I was looking at the ratings, that's why.
Okay. I was like,
No, I was looking at the ratings and I noticed something. So, Melanie, you're up. You took a TARDIS, cut it in half. We called it 7.5.
Yeah, because I don't want to land it at 7, but it definitely isn't fully an 8 for me, because there are those the graphics I didn't I didn't really like the way the Mickey looked. I didn't like, but I get that they were trying to go plasticky, and it is CGI does not age very well.
No.
That's why practical is amazing, because if it's looks like how it looks, it's not going to look better. It just that's the beauty of why Jurassic Park still looks amazing. Because they built a damn dinosaur. But there was some parts that I did like that I'm not gonna rate it as low as Dave. Because I do agree with one of the comments before, and it was going to show you it is what's on the tin. The cheek. I loved how Eccleston came in, honestly, and he already knew who's Doctor. His characterization didn't really change. He knew that he was all over the place. How he was funny, he was slapsticky, he could be serious, he could be that. I mean, I don't think. Yes, we only got one season. But I don't think that, for me, I don't ever think to myself, oh, how is 9 ever going to evolve or change? To me, he knew his character. He wasn't going to do anything different.
No.
Rose, we can see as an actress, Billie Piper now. Holy crap, the growth that she's just. Oh my! I saw Yerma, so I was like, wow, this she's a phenomenal actress. But you can see this was her first time out of the gate, and because of that, I think Russell wrote somebody, as Mark had said before, I know the slang word is chav. And that's, it's quite nice seeing the stereotypical chav as Rose meeting the Doctor, as it's a nice dynamic for the show, since my neighbor in Essex and London was a chav growing up. So we're talking about a girl who was poor. Growing up in an estate is, in the American term, growing up in projects, or growing up in very low income, government help funded housing.
So a companion that people could latch onto easier than not. The companion's always been the perception of the audience.
Mm-hmm.
But you think Billie Piper playing Rose, there was more of an attachment for people to latch onto when it came to her.
I think it really didn't nail down the audience. One, it helped it with her.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe being a little green, helps with the character and maybe how she portrays things. It's probably a lot easier for her to apples to apples something. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just completely just guessing on that. But as the companion, definitely somebody that is got to be green with the rest of the audience. So we're just going to kind of go along with it. And I love the fact that she isn't this, and like most people in the audience who's watching this, believe it or not, if you stop it from a comment, if you ignore comment sections, they're not all rocket scientists. They're not all master's degree wielding people who know everything. So it was kind of nice having just somebody who was just a normal girl. I love the fact that she didn't have a future. She didn't have a college degree. She didn't have like her AA, what we would call like an AABA. She didn't go to college. She was supposed to get up, graduate, get a job, get married, spit some babies out, and that's it. That was her life. That's what Jackie essentially kind of told her. The whole thing on beans on toast and waking up and that all kind of thing. So this episode really showed what she, this whole world that she could have and all that kind of fun stuff. So that's why I really do love Rose. It did have its the graphics, and maybe sometimes some of the slapsticky stuff went a little far, but it's Doctor Who. I kind of I can go back and watch Eccleston fighting a fake hand, like a fake arm, like you would do in a, elementary or middle school play. And he did it well. So I thought, there was that kind of fun. That was that kind of slapsticky fun. But then there was that hard hitting stuff of, to Andrew Morris, how he brings up that the speech of I can feel it the turn of the earth. The ground beneath our feet is spinning 1,000 miles an hour, and the entire planet is hurtling around the sun at 67,000 miles an hour, and I can feel it. So you have all this range of the Doctor, and you had it all in one episode. And like I said, it is what it was on the tin. We're bringing back Doctor Who, and come along for the ride. So we were all Rose.
Oh, and the campiness, I think that was just because I think that's another thing that Russell T was pulling into from old Who, from classic Who, which was that it was very over the top, over campy. Because remember, at this time, what's that?
Not as armless as it seems.
Yeah, we got a lot of puns in there. What was it? So that's never going to work. She's gay and he's an alien, or he's gay.
Oh, even I just thought the cheekiness of Jackie, like, there's a man in my bedroom. Anything could happen. He's like, nope.
There's
a bit. Too many soap operas, lady. I gotta go.
There's a bit at the end of that scene with the arm where they break the coffee table, and the way that it ends up is Rose sort of ends up on top of the Doctor, and Jackie comes out into the living room. She's like, "You tart!" Was not expecting that, for sure.
No.
Well, I think it shows, especially now that all three of them, being Mickey, Rose, and Jackie, would eventually get into the TARDIS at some point or another, that it laid the foundation, not only for Doctor Who as we know it from 2005, but it laid the foundation of how they were going to be as companions going into the TARDIS. They had their own dynamics that they brought and had different perspectives. Even when, what was it? Jackie Tyler ends up with 10 in the TARDIS. He doesn't even realize he just kidnapped Jackie and goes, if
I end up on Mars, I'm gonna kill you.
Exactly. Dave, you saw the area in London where I grew up, and what did you think of the area? How would you compare to Canada?
You can't compare London to really anything in North America, quite frankly. It is its own thing. It is much older. It feels much older.
I'm in my dressing gown.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's not there is nothing like London in Canada or in the US that I've seen. So I do love it there, and I'm sure Melanie will love her trip there and gorge herself on many candies.
It's my fourth trip.
Yes, her fourth trip. There you go. So she will gorge herself on for the fourth time on many candies.
Your fourth trip to London.
Yep.
The TARDIS's little trip. Third time. I've yet to go into this place. Ready for insulin shots? Nice.
Let's do it.
You got it there. When we're going to go to final commercial break. When we return, we're going to bring in Brian. He rated it a 10.
Woo.
He went to full gusto. Jackie.
Yeah.
Oh God. Now I can't unsee. When we return, please continue to stay logged on, tuned in, and become part of the legend. We'll be right back.
We are a touring acoustic duo crashing kitchens around the country. We go from house to house every Friday night, and we create music, we create food, a good time, we stream it live, and we do it for free. So now we're just really kind of like trying to develop it and build a community group that people believe in, then they'll help us. So we played from our rehearsal room, we played from the bathroom, thankfully that didn't catch on.
I probably played guitar in my room, not for anyone, in front of anyone, nobody heard, for probably about 10 years.
And then one Friday night, we played from the kitchen. It's the main place people want to be. It's where the food is, it's where the drink is, it's where the best lighting is. You can go to any party and I guarantee you, the kitchen is going to be popping.
Our ultimate goal, I think, would be to Crash kitchens every Friday all around the world.
You have more options than ever before when choosing a film, a television or internet series, a book to curl up with, or even a radio show or podcast. Get to know the people who are creating for you. The Hangin' With Web Show, hosted by award-winning author and journalist G.W. Pomacher, is the internet's fastest-growing web talk show series. The Hangin' With Web Show features professional, yet casual, in-depth interviews with creative arts and entertainment pros. Meet the people behind a digital revolution in creating more quality content than ever before in the history of media. Find the Hangin' With Web Show on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, or simply go to www.hanginwithshow.com. That's www.hanginwithshow.com.
Hi, my name is Jamie Ingle, critically acclaimed author of The Toilet Papers, Places to Go While You Go, a short story collection suited to match your bathroom needs. Only have to go a little? No problem. I've got stories under 1,000 words for you. Far from poopin'? I've got you covered, with stories over 5,000 words to keep you occupied, while your latrine stays occupied. And that's not all. The Toilet Papers is endorsed by the fine folks from Squatty Potty, the stool for better stools. But don't take my word for it. See what Dookie the Squatty Potty unicorn has to say on YouTube. You won't be disappointed. Well, I've got to go, but you can grab your copy of The Toilet Papers on Amazon in ebook or print, or get an autographed copy from me at therightangle.com. And don't worry, I promise I'll wash my hands first. The Toilet Papers. You might just stay in the bathroom longer than you need to.
Oh, sorry, I meant to take that down. There's a reason why I left Jamie's commercial as the last commercial, because we want to congratulate Jamie. I want to show you something that she sent me. This is her movie trailer. She wrote a movie and it's been produced. So that is a trailer, and she wrote on her personal page.
Get it, girl.
Yep, she wrote. She's in tears. This is the trailer to her movie, Just Jake. So we'll probably get more information as it comes our way, but we want to congratulate Jamie Ingle for making a movie. Good God, really.
Yep.
So congratulations, Jamie. We can't wait to see it, and I'm sure you'll be on later on to talk about that. So speaking of which, welcome back to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basil. This is the lovely Kevo Risse. This is the lovely Melanie Dean. That is the lovely Brian from Dr. Freedom over on the YouTube channel. Make sure you are subscribing to all of our channels. Enjoy your journey through time and space. Love your friends. Love your family. Good night, all. TARDIS Spider, have a good one out there. We are reviewing the first episode of the 2005 reboot, rebranding, whatever you want to call it. Revival. Thank you. Rose, reason why people have been asking us to review ClassicNu WHO, meaning that or New Who, whatever you want to call it, the episodes that were before Jodie Whittaker. If you're just joining us, we haven't reviewed much of anything before Jodie. So as we move along to the 60th anniversary, we'll be reviewing ClassicNu WHO, maybe even some classics. And as we get to the 60th, we're going to be reviewing the 5, the 3, and the 2 Doctors, as well as the 50th anniversary leading up to the 60th. I hope the unicorn is in this.
That would be amazing.
That would be amazing.
Somewhere in the background.
Right, on a toilet seat. So that's a lovely segue to Dr. Freedom himself. Brian, you gave Rose a 10.
No, there's a method to my madness.
Exactly. So we got it down there.
10.
There is a method to my madness as to why I gave it a 10.
I believe you. I totally believe
the reason I gave it a 10, it's not the greatest story in the world. Yeah, the CGI is a bit dated, but you have to keep in mind, RTD is coming into this. The original series ran from 63 to 89. That's 26 years. Now you got the 96 movie, and then you've got this. You now have to introduce new people to this character, and you have to reintroduce those who knew the character from before, and you've got 1 hour to do it. And I thought he did a brilliant job by making the Auton story, a nice vehicle to carry, this particular story where we're going to learn about the basics we need to know. The Doctor, basically, what's behind this guy. We learn about the TARDIS, and of course, we're also introduced to a new companion, Rose, who is one of the common people. Earlier I heard, I heard Melanie going on about the estate, and I kept hearing "In the Ghetto" by Elvis Presley. I don't know why, but so basically that's why I did it, because it did it brilliantly. A lot of us were hoping it would be Paul McGann, but they decided they wanted to go with someone completely new, and they picked up Chris Eccleston, who I had seen in a few movies here and there before I saw the new Doctor Who, things like 28 Days Later, or he was also Norfolk in Elizabeth, which is still one of my favorite movies. And now he's taking on this character who, at this point is 900 years old. And like I said, you had this 1 hour brief window to do all this in. And I think it did a good job of doing that. And even though it is all over the place, as I said before, that's because you're not just wanting the old guys to come in. You want new people to come in and experience this character. And I think that's why it goes all over the place. It seems like it's a bit of a kids episode, but I think that's because they're, widening the age range a bit. They want to bring more of an audience in. And I think it did the job brilliantly, just laying the foundation and setting it up for what would come later. So, yeah, it's not the most brilliant story in the world, but, you got to say mission accomplished. It did what it was supposed to do.
Gotcha. Well, I've got nothing to say about that.
No, because he just wrapped it up perfectly in a bow. So
No, that's it. It's fine. It is what it is. So,
I think series one had a little bit of a struggle finding that balance, which
Yeah.
is where we got the Slovene, where like 1 minute it's people are murdered, and the next minute it's fat farting aliens, and that was like that one more for me is the apex of like you can't decide if this is dramatic or if it's a kid show. And like over the years, they've smoothed out the edges where like they can do funny slapstick at the same time as being dramatic a lot better. But at first, that was a tough sell. It was an PM show on Saturday night, which over there, that's still a night that means something. It used to mean something here, not anymore. But that like is a big slot asking adults to watch at that time. And so he really was trying to pull both sides. And it was tough, but we're still here talking about it. So he clearly accomplished it.
You see, I always imagine, can you name any other actor who can pull off a line like, "Would you mind not farting while I'm trying to save the world?"
Deadpan. It's funny, but you're like, oh, he's serious. Yeah.
Well, I mean, in the Doctor's world, this is, we could safely say that this is, for a better term, normal to him. This is, for us humans who have never experienced the universe, we haven't seen farting aliens. Where I've mentioned that the Doctor could look on the ground, see a piece of goo, everybody walks by it, but the Doctor's looking at it and says, "Oh my God, that's a beautiful thing there." We just
so many
can't
life
see
forms.
So the life forms that we haven't. So farting
yeah,
aliens,
see,
why not?
spoiler alert: when we get to the farting aliens, it's not going to be a high ranking for me. It's
one little trivia tidbit for you folks who are going into this season. Originally, UNIT was its originally, what it was originally designated, the acronym. It was United Nations Intelligence Task Force. But after this season, believe it or not, they got a letter from the UN saying that they didn't want to be associated with a paramilitary force, so they had to change it to the United Intelligence, whatever it is now. It's the Unified Intelligence.
Unified Intelligence.
Yeah.
We, with all this distance, frequently forget how wild things were that close to 9/11 still, but Russell was forced to remove references to the Auton explosion of Henrix as a terrorist attack. He was told to remove any references to terrorism and he put them back in the book because he could by that point. But when I read that trivia, I was like, yeah, that does make sense because we were still all so
Yeah.
terrifying.
Oh yeah, I mean
really. And so
there's still things that I mean, of course my brain's going ugh right now, but I know there's other instances where it's something where in entertainment that they'll depict for fantasy terms and fiction terms, something that they might film a year or two before, and then maybe it actually happens, whether it's some type of explosion, some type of attack, and the setting and everything happens to be almost mirrored. And you're like, how did you have the people who are really clutching their pearls going, oh, how could they film this? And I'm like, wait a minute, this is a trope that's done before. We did it years ago. We didn't know some psycho was going to go do this now, and now because of a release date, it's got bad timing. So yeah, that's one thing with Rose. I didn't even, I forgot that, what else was happening during that time frame.
Did they ever explain what happened to Henrik's? Or they just said there was an explosion?
No. The Henrik's is the store from this.
No. I meant, did they ever explain in the storyline why
it was like a gas leak?
In the episode, it's really flimsy, and that's another thing the book really does. Is Russell was clearly trying to like put in things that he couldn't get to make sense in the episode. He's like, it's infested, I gotta blow it up, which years later Russell is thinking to himself, obviously, that's not really a good reason for him to blow up this entire department store. Instead, there's a nest of Nestine there, and you see some Nestine in this version. So but yeah, it's very flimsy. He's just like, there's a signal coming from this building, so I'm gonna blow it up.
Now, if you're now I was going to say, Christian, if you're talking more about how people in the storyline that are kind of just off in the world going, how do they just keep moving along? I know that I think it was Russell that wrote it. I'm not sure if it was him or Moffat did the perfect fix of maybe it was Russell. When the aliens come, or with the big star, and it might have been like the Rachnos, I'm not sure, but basically the Doctor at some point says to a companion, okay, how is the world going to forget this? I think it might have been Donna, and the Doctor basically says, you humans, you'll figure out some reason to go throw yourselves in denial of something. And I remember going, oh my Lord, he's right. That's accurate. I can't remember who wrote it, but it was somebody they will just no, that never happened.
Well, he said it best in Boomtown. He was like, when you just see a blue box slapped in the middle of the street, what do? People just walk by and not even think about it. So yeah, that is I get it. That's why we forget, or we get back, or it's like, why, at this point, why have we known the Daleks at this point? They've been all over the planet and in different time zones and everywhere. So why don't we know Daleks now? I think you guys better not watch Red Dwarf. I do. That's my favorite.
I love Red Dwarf.
I do. Yeah, that's my favorite. That's my second favorite sci-fi show. Spooky the Lone Gunman X-Files spinoff. Check it out. Okay.
Spinoff is terrible. Sorry, and I was so up for that. Sorry, there's my other rating for a show. I love the Lone Gunman episodes, but
Intelligence Task Force, and it becomes Unified Nations Intelligence Task Force. However, UN appears on Capaldi episode with the monks, but not before Unit was IMCG.
I think that was the countermeasures group he's referring to.
Oh, okay. I didn't even see that. I know there was a story. There was like a spin-off story or something called Countermeasures, and I think that is that Sergeant Benton, Mark. I think that it stars.
Countermeasures, I think, was introduced in Remembrance of the Daleks, the 25th anniversary.
Oh, that's right.
And they went on to have their own audiobook series on Big Finish.
The two guys and the gals, the two girls and the guy, and the soldier leader. Yeah, I remember that. I remember it. I don't remember that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, would you like my rating? Well, we're going to end the audio version of this portion. If you want to continue on, and for those of you who are watching, please continue to watch on our YouTube channel, our Facebook page. Captain Gilmore, yes, Group Captain Gilmore out there. We are going to be going for our friends on the audio. Thank you for listening to us. If you want to listen to us on our audio, I'm going to pop this up right here. iHeartRadio, sci-fi.radio. You can download the app for free. Odyssey, Spotify, Spreaker, Podbean, Player FM, wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Also, make sure you're going to our Facebook page, facebook.com, the Traveling TARDIS, 100 Whovians left. and we will be at 67,000. We just need just a little over 100 Whovians out there right now just to subscribe. And speaking of subscribing right now, go ahead, as you can see on the bottom of the screen, youtube.com, The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. If you want to help us offset some of the costs of this show, you can always provide super chats, or if you're watching this after the premiere, you can provide super thanks. Any little help will help us to get us to conventions we're trying to get out there, or just to improve on some of the stuff that we have out here.
That's just called Christian needs a new computer.
And that's called Christian needs a new computer so he can play the Worlds Apart game.
Yeah.
So we are going to go in the after party. I'm going to give my reveal, and we're going to go a little bit more into details, and of course, continue on with your chats. We're going to be talking more about Rose, Jackie, and Mickey as far as the episode, and Clive, because we didn't get a chance to do it, but we're going to get into the after party. Hey there, Zombie. Thank you so much for joining us out there. But we are going to go ahead and end the audio portion. Everybody, thank you for joining us on the audio version. Take care and be safe, and always become part of the legend. Everybody who's watching on YouTube and everywhere else, please stand by. We'll be right back. Okay. Oh, there's Dave. 1 to 2. I was on tour with a show called Roads. It was
I got burned up. I hate arson in real life. You said I burned down, and arson was suspected in one of the communities we performed. We removed the entire arson sequence from the show for that city. Oh, yeah, I get
An
it.
example of having coincidence happening, going, of unfortunate timing, going, oh, we didn't mean that, and yeah.
I think it was. I think
be respectful. That's when you go pulling out.
Wasn't the first Spider-Man film?
Yep, the first Spider-Man trailer had.
Yeah. The web between the Twin Towers with the helicopter getting caught in it.
And that was actually some of the promo posters had the Twin Towers, and then they had to take those down. So
because probably they thought nothing's ever gonna happen. Oh.
So my rating.
What's your rating for Rose, Christian?
I'll probably get Daved on this. It wasn't so bad, but not the highest one either. Had you asked me this question on day one in 2005 when this premiered, I would have put it 10 within seconds. I'm like, I was so desperate for Doctor Who. I'm just like, I don't care. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. I didn't care how bad the episode, where it was how campy it was. It's just like, oh my God, it's going to have more than one episode on Fox. It's now on the BBC. Thank you, Candyman. There you go. To fund Christian's computer, £2. Thank you, my good friend.
Fund Christian computer.
Do this about for 500 more episodes, and I'll probably get it.
Oh my Lord!
Everybody else,
part of the Amazon wish list.
So, without further ado,
and a savings
it was when I first started at 10, and I think it's aged like fine wine, not rare wine, but fine wine. And I've dropped the. Remember,
I'm not bougie enough to understand the difference between fine wine and.
Well,
yeah, right.
Let me put it this way. Remember when guy said, my favorite Big Finish is the Holy Terror, and when you guys reviewed it, you actually.
that was you.
Yeah, that was me. That was like that. Well, we reviewed the Holy Terror, and you guys were like, "Hey, the ratings I thought was going to be high. It's great." No, they weren't that great. Because that episode was so classic at the time. There's been more Big Finish since then. So it was competing against the other Big Finish that had come out later on. If it probably was back then when it first came out, it might be a different thing altogether. So as time has progressed, if you had asked me 2005 what I thought 10/10, and I wouldn't have batted an eye. 2023, I had to drop it to a 7. When we go, I give the episodes. I'm Screaming Jackies out of 10. Okay, we'll probably.
That is now the way we rate.
I do like Screaming Jackies as a rating barometer.
Very loud.
I had to drop it to a 7 because it's now competing in my mind with New Who, new stories. As Dr. Freedom has said, this is the episode that brought it all back. So there is no denying that this is the episode that has brought Doctor Who back. And what we are now, that was 2005. We're at 2023. We're at what? No, numerically, 15th, 16th Doctor and heading up whatever the heck we are at now, and God only knows how many episodes. So it did the job what it was supposed to do. I agree with Dr. Freedom. It did what it did. It's not one of the best episodes, but it was the appetizer before the main course, as we were going to see progressing when we move into, and we'll be reviewing the end of the world next week. And we have a special guest announcement coming up the following week. So I'll leave that at that. But I like Freedom said, but yeah, again, the CGI, it was point campy, but I think if you could look
trash can burped.
His fingers stretched with the trash can. I was like, what the heck's going on here? And yeah, it was just like, what was it? The little cringe line that was like, pizza. I'm like,
pizza.
This is just weird. And then he meets him in the there. Do you want some champagne? That was actually cool. That was a cool Doctor move. It's like, does anybody want this champagne? And Mickey's not getting, or Plastic and Mickey's not getting it. But we're seeing Rose, and I think I'll add to the discussion over here because I do want you to take on the characters themselves as well as the story we've gone over. So, but you're seeing from an audience perspective now how Rose is entering into the world of the Doctor and how insane and crazy it is. He just watched the Doctor rip off her boyfriend's plastic head and thinking he's dead, but no, he's not. He's fine.
But then she swings out there and saves him.
Yep. Because, go ahead, Kev. Let me say this bit and I'll let you. Because as we've always seen with Doctor Who and Companions, the Doctor always finds the best in the companion. There's always a reason, as the 11th Doctor has stated, I always pick my friends wisely. I like the older Big Finish story of Doctor Who, so do I. Go ahead, Kevo. Go ahead.
One of the interesting things about the novelization was there's a lot of interesting characterization that Russell decided to pack into it compared to what aired, most especially for Mickey, who he put in a lot of sympathetic backstory for and characterization and made him seem very caring to people around him. Whereas rewatching this episode, I really stand by how I felt 16 years ago, that he's just kind of a lump. Don't go reading my emails. What's in your emails, Mickey? And he's not like a horrible man, but I think in 2005 when he wrote this, he was trying to really give us why Rose would run away from her life. Her boyfriend's good, but he's, kind of nothing. Her mom's kind of mean. And so to see him write this book in 2018 and put in stuff where now these characters, and the fans love Jackie Tyler and they love Mickey, and he added so much more to Mickey as a character, that he's like a freedom fighter now with Martha Jones. And so it was really wild to see that he added, like, Mickey's in a band in the book, and every single person that he's in the band with is queer, which was just random but lovely. And so it was just very strange. One of the cool things though was when we meet Clive, because you mentioned wanting to talk about Clive, there's a lot of really cool stuff. He's given a backstory. His dad died in what is some Dalek story from like Classic is like a backstory that Russell put for the character, that his dad died in some classic Dalek story. It's crazy. But he shows Rose other pictures of other Doctors, including future ones we haven't met yet.
Right.
So that was really cool to see too. It was more than just the bald black woman. There's a kid in a wheelchair apparently who's hanging out with K9. So it's really interesting to see that, especially now that he's coming back. Is he going to take anything from this and put it in his new show?
Talking about Rose and I'm assuming the Royal Air Force. There is no rank of captain in the Royal Air Force. Thus, Jack Harkness' rank slides is only squad leader, not group captain. The costume designer had to change to group captain. Oh, okay. There was an extra take on it. Is Disney planning to do spin-offs of Doctor Who? I know Russell is planning on doing spin-offs, but not Disney. Disney is a distributor.
Yeah,
As
okay,
far
just
as
to clear that up,
Yeah.
Disney owns the streaming rights. They do not have creative control. They
Mhm.
are allowed to make suggestions, but they do not have they have no creative control over Doctor Who. So, but yeah, as you said, RTD is doing spinoffs. He's already announced this. That's confirmed. We just don't know what they are yet.
Yep.
I honestly think it would be at Disney. As Brian said, they have streaming rights. That's all they have. Now, because they have streaming rights, they get the streaming metrics, they get the streaming data. They now get to know how many hits are coming, how many views are coming, and how many people are getting their Disney Plus subscription because of Doctor Who. Because they have that, they then can take that, analyze it, and go, all right, I can forecast out if we put some money towards throwing it over there to say, hey, you give me some more Doctor Who content. This is our ROI or return on our investment. You can see where this is going. No, they're not planning for it, but it could be on the table if the price is right.
Do you think
They're interested?
Do you think Disney will make the merch?
Yes. That came out so loud.
Make the what?
We'll make the merch. Do you
Merchandise.
think Disney will make the merch?
Disney will sell
They have rights.
anything. They are selling Titanic merchandise on Shop Disney because they have that through Fox, and James Cameron re-released Titanic for the anniversary, so they're selling Titanic merchandise on Shop Disney. They will sell anything.
I think they'll also start
going
selling
on.
licensing rights like crazy because of Fox. I mean, heck, they have Alien Predator and Alien versus Predator. Start seeing more stuff out there. So sure, if they can get the licensing rights for Doctor Who to make merch, it'll be in a park. Again, if the ROI is there, they'll do it.
I'm gonna be weirded out when I see Mickey Mouse with a sonic screwdriver and pinstripe suit walking around.
Trust me, I'm still having nightmares about the Duck Lex and Duck Ross. Oh,
I'm like, I don't know where that.
I love it.
Come on, Pluto. We have to go save the galaxy.
Donald Duck is Capaldi. He's just walking around.
Yeah. Oh, I see that.
Disney is canceling.
No, Scrooge McDuck would be Capaldi.
Well,
at least in my mind, I don't know.
Stories we need to do is release the merchandise. I tread lightly when it comes to this. I'm very excited that Doctor Who now has the budget, now has the artistic creativity, and it's being handled by Russell T Davies, the man who brought back Doctor Who, and is going to bring it into another new generation and see how far he can run with it. And apparently, right now, from what I understand, he's already announced he's going to be with it for years. This is not just a 1-year trick pony. He's going to be at this. He's going to be monitoring the spinoffs. So I like what's happening to Doctor Who at this moment. But
I think the problem was.
Sorry.
I think the problem was there didn't used to be a career in it. But I think not only does he see someone at the echelon of Kevin Feige, but he even sees what the CW was able to accomplish with their DC superhero verse. And I think in 2008, it was fun to get it back on the track and get it back in the public eye, but he didn't really see it being something that he could turn into a career long term, probably at the time. And now that's something that people do. And yeah, I wouldn't leave it if I didn't have any reason to either. And I think that's why he didn't see that it was going anywhere, and now it could.
With the budget and less episodes, the quality should improve. I agree. And I think
I would hope so. But my biggest flaw with the last few seasons and Doctors has always been writing.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping just with an RTD that helps.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, okay.
Yeah, I think the main reason why they went to 8 episodes, because with the talk of the spinoffs and all that, well, one of the big things with RTD was the fact that he burnt out. He was doing 13 episodes of Doctor Who plus a Christmas special, plus you had Torchwood and Sarah Jane Adventures towards the end. They were running all those concurrently.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he stepped away from it. It's because you're trying to do all this at once, and then sooner or later something fries in the brain pan and you've had enough. And I think that's one of the main reasons why they dropped it to 8 episodes and all that, because they knew kind of in advance they're going to be doing spinoffs and all that. That way, they can more equally divide their time amongst whatever projects, other projects are going to do. And also, it'll help prevent, doing the burnout thing again. because, I can't imagine how this guy kept his sanity. It's like,
But
I
I
gotta do
do have
14
to.
episodes for this, 14 episodes for that, 14.
I do have to say though, I hope, and Russell, I know you're listening, so please hear me when I say this. It's because I love you and I'm concerned.
Wait. We got to do this proper.
Do
There
it.
you go, Kevo.
Thank you.
Do it. You're talking to Russell.
You and I am married to a type A man who runs our show, and so he has to do everything, and I get it. I'm married to a type A gay man, so I understand where you're coming from, but please let other people help you more.
Yes.
You don't need to
Yes.
rewrite everyone's episodes, because I think that's also a thing that people don't realize about like Chibnall's era. Chibnall was letting people do their jobs in a way that Russell T Davies is a lot more micromanaging, in a way that I love because it creates such great art. But I also love you, Russell, and I want you to take care of yourself, and I want you to take days off and enjoy the sun, and not drown yourself in cigarettes writing these scripts the way that I know you do. And so I say it with love. You are my hero, and I just want you to rely on other people to help you
Wait.
more.
Just stop right there for just a second. I want to try to see if I can get this right. Hang on one second. Keep talking right now. I just want to
I'm
do
gonna
this.
keep talking. I'm talking right now about how much Russell. Oh yeah, you're giving me music.
Music.
Dramatic. Russell, this is focus in on me. This is my emotional appeal to you as one of your gay sons. Please, we just want you to take care of yourself. Thank you.
Okay.
The good news is, though, thanks to the Bad Wolf thing, he's got Julie Gardner back with him. Like I said, I think this woman, like I said, if she's told me tomorrow she's going to blow up the moon, I think she could do it. I'm not kidding. She is just, between her and Russell the first time around, they were pulling off miracles left and right, keeping this thing running on time the way they did. And I think with her helping out, he's definitely got all the help he needs. So
I think I'm hoping, and it's hard because this is like over here and this is the fault that Dave and Melanie jump on me about. It's just it's a catch-22. You want to give more responsibility to folks who want to take it on and help you make the show going, but then there's that little side of you that just go like, I need to make sure.
But that's why you have to vet out the people that you want, but you do have to trust. That's no matter what field you're in, that is a testament to a good manager. That is a good testament to a good director. And that C level is to put the people underneath you in the right spots, but you gotta trust them. I mean, if you want to, that's why a lot of people want to call him the next Feige. Feige hasn't directed any of these Marvel movies.
Yeah, he doesn't write
Feige
stuff.
hasn't been writing them. But he trusts the people.
He gives
and all that stuff.
suggestions,
right?
But he's not. Yeah, no, exactly.
And the same thing now with the Star Wars, with the Mandalorian and whatnot. Everyone wants to love Favreau and Filoni, and with good reason. But they also trust their directors, and they trust their lead, the story. That yet their writers. There's certain things where they're like, look, this is where we're going. Here's the plot. If it's an important piece, they're taking the helm. But otherwise, they're like, okay, here you go. And they're trusting them, and look what's happening. But they're also not just going, willy-nilly. Because with Chibnall, I love the episodes that he didn't write. So he did, bless his soul, did trust people, and they took it and ran with it. There's talent out there. I just hope maybe RTD does the same thing so he does not get burnt out.
I would say, like, if you were going to take anything from the Chibnall area, I think, Maxine Alterton, who wrote the Village of the Angels and the Frankenstein episode. Mm-hmm. She wrote both of those. Take her. So I mean, there was one.
Everybody's worried about this and that, but I think Russell's just going to do what every other showrunner does: come in there, make your own mark. Don't worry about anything else before. And that's been the history of Doctor going back to to the beginning. Every showrunner brings his own game in, and I don't even think he's going to address anything that happened before. He's just going to keep the story moving forward.
I think we are probably not going to see that one again, Fanny.
I wouldn't worry about any of that if you are.
I think Chibnall had said in another interview, not the one that just came out recently, but he I forgot there was an article where he said he didn't think the next showrunner was going to pay attention to it, and I mean, if he does, it's going to be RTD's version of it, and I'm hoping he runs with it better than what happened the last time. But that's just my opinion on that. Do you think that after 60th they should go back to season rather than series? Frankly, I don't know what the difference is anymore.
Well, season is mainly an American term that we adopted, where series
what I
is
thought.
kind of like a British thing all along. So I don't think they're going to go back to season, really. I don't see it happening.
That's what I thought. I was just like, well, we stick with what we already at, but it depends upon how they're, because it's a Sony product now. I get used to it. It's been BBC for so long now to think that Doctor Who's a commercial product because it's now Sony run. I'm like, boy, I just can't get my head around it now. I hope they do an 8th Doctor spinoff, which we're all begging. Yeah, just 3 seasons with, and I guess I wouldn't mind seeing Eric Roberts come back as the Master. I wouldn't either.
I think it'd be amazing.
I don't even done in a big finish yet. It drives me insane. Same here. Yeah.
Well, the idea was tossed around back after Night of the Doctor came out because people were, thousands upon thousands of petitions hit saying they wanted to see more of Paul McGann. But the problem is the official ruling from the BBC and all that back then is having more than one Doctor Who show on screen might confuse the viewing audience. But that's what they were saying back then. But like I said, I'm not hopeful, but you never know. With the new budget, anything's possible.
And Marvel's proving that people can wrap their brains around a multiverse. Yep, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was the first one to say, look, people can understand multiverses. And now Marvel grabbed that one. Okay, let's try it. And
I know people who started with Torchwood and gatewayed into Doctor Who. I actually know people who started with Sarah Jane Adventures and gatewayed back into Doctor Who because they all wanted to know, what was this mothership about? I think Kevo, I actually think I met one person who was a fan of Torchwood and knew nothing about Doctor Who. Nothing. I'm like, it never so even weird. Recurred to you somewhere along the way about the Doctor that he's mentioned a few times. I know Captain Jack has mentioned it.
I was just a general practitioner. It's fine.
Never heard of. That just always blows my mind. I don't understand.
And I need to understand word like never heard of it. I mean, you've never heard those two words ever uttered together, or you just didn't know about this TV show called Doctor Who and just never explored it. But yeah, I've known one person at least whose Torchwood was their gateway in.
Well, if I remember right, Jack never refers to the Doctor as the Doctor. He keeps saying that only a certain doctor could help him. And so that kind of left it vague. So maybe, someone just didn't catch on to the fact that they're referring to the Doctor, so that might be why.
It's just Wikipedia has existed as long as this revived franchise has. So I'm just always like, you never read about this show that you love so much? Like all these people who are thrown with the new season of Mandalorian because events that happened in Book of Boba Fett. And I didn't watch The Mandalorian season 2 or Book of Boba Fett live. And I was still fully aware of all of the important events that happened there to not be surprised with Mandalorian season 3 coming back. And everyone's like, and how am I supposed to possibly know and catch up? And I'm like, why don't you just go watch a YouTube video about it? You could just watch the relevant clips instead of having to watch. Because first of all, you could just watch the last 3 episodes of Book of Boba Fett. That's just a mini season of Mandalorian. But either way, we live in an era where you could just go watch a YouTube video about this. If this was 1993, you would have no idea what this Star Wars novel is referencing. You'd never be able to find that other novel that the character had that happen to them in. And you would just have to be okay with that. And I can't understand.
These are people who possibly, on one hand, you can make an argument either way against this. Either A, it will have lives. Either A, they have read comics and understand the concept that things can happen and be referenced that happened in other comic books. Or B, they never read a comic and never understood that things could happen in the comic books and definitely needed that little part in the bottom where it said reference.
This happened in
this happened in, exactly, X-Men 2, blah, 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 blah. So so I almost wonder sometimes now we need to kind of start, since it is, Marvel and all that stuff, start bringing that aspect in, even if it's in closed captions and stuff, just to let people know, hey, this happened in this,
like a little note, like pop-up video.
Right. Because I mean, as somebody who read comics, if two characters mention something, I would have almost assumed, okay, they must be referring to something else. And then sometimes if it was a really big plot point, you would notice that, an editor would write, go see Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man issues, blah, 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 blah. Or if it was Deadpool, he'd just flat out say, hey, that happened over here. I haven't seen you since. Maybe we need to start doing that, because there was some people that did not, they Mandalorian hit and they didn't know what the heck was going on. So if Russell does build this big Doctor WHOniverse, maybe he can start bringing that. That could be his huge thing to introduce into television, entertainment, streaming, and it's the referencing other shows here and there.
I would
not
love
just going onto YouTube and using that. Hello,
There's
Screen
this
Crush.
adorable series of animated shorts from the Star Wars Kids YouTube channel, where it's retellings of Star Wars stories and canon, like animated in short form. I'd love stuff like that for Doctor Who, to tell like classic stories, just condensed, to give an idea of what that was like. And then you're not worrying about the old graphics or anything like that. It's brand new style. It all looks the same. I think that would be really cute for Doctor Who, especially.
In my opinion, it's easier to binge watch Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett than it is to binge watch Doctor Who since 1963 all the way up to present
Even
day.
2005, 175 episodes we're at.
Right. And it's
Crazy.
just it's just, and the monster keeps growing and it's beautiful. We love it down there. Speaking of beautiful, let me go ahead and bring back what we're going to talk about as we wrap up our show. MegaCon. The season is where they do 3-4 stories, but 4.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. Episodes.
I'd give certain opinions just to meet John Cleese once.
Is a story, but has, well, you can just drive down here if you can make it down there.
Yeah.
You can go to fanexpohq.com, MegaCon Orlando. You can look it up on Google search. But if anything happens, that man is holding my TARDIS. I'm going to get that man with my TARDIS some way or another. We're going to be at MegaCon. It's over at the Orange County Convention Center. It's going to be taking place from Thursday until Sunday. Keep an eye out for the celebrities because they are in on certain dates, like James McAvoy. He's only on Saturday. Chevy Chase going to be Saturday and Sunday. Hayden Christensen Saturday only.
I got my autograph for Hayden.
Vincent D'Onofrio. There's Sam Raimi is going to be there. If you really want to catch
the Fonz.
Yep, Henry Winkler. When I say nicest guy in the world, he was.
How do I say Hollywood legend?
Yep,
the Cobra Kai guys.
All the Cobra Kai guys together. A lot of the Star Wars.
Katie Sackhoff,
Carl Weathers, Matthew Lillard. He was up with us with Pensacon, and I didn't get a chance to see him, so I'm going to see him hopefully this time, of course. Little Leia.
Lana Parrilla.
Yep.
Anson Mount, Anson Peck, and of course the Saved by the Bell.
Oh, Ethan Peck. And Anson Mount.
So they are all going to be there, and I'm hoping we will see a heck of a lot more out there. But we want to see you, as we are going to be merged with the Daleks of Florida. So I think they're bringing out 6 to 8 Daleks to get your pictures with, including Dalek Hal and Ren, which you've seen. If you've toured with us, you'll see them again over at MegaCon. Make sure you get your tickets now. Just some hints and advice. If you decide to go Saturday, get your butt out there in the parking lot 2 hours early. I'm not kidding you.
Figure out how you are going to get there. If you're going to get there early, get park. Otherwise, Uber or whatnot, because last year Saturday was absolutely insane. People could not park. People who
they weren't even parking at the facility. They were parking at Point Orlando and then figuring it out how they got from Point Orlando to the facility.
Yeah.
So people who were arriving like at noon didn't get in until I'm not exaggerating, 3 or 4.
Yes. It was
just
insane.
to get in the building.
And
So
if that many people are using Uber and all that, that means those rates are going up too because of the necessity tax of whatever they want to call it. So please plan ahead. Please plan, or just get your find where your patience is, nurture it for the weekend, and get it ready for Saturday because you're gonna need it.
Yep.
Hold
Make
it.
sure you have
Uber.
snacks.
Sorry.
Make sure you got water because I tell people, just imagine the worst
visit me.
day at a theme park. It's Christmas Day at the Magic Kingdom. You want to be patient. You want to take your time. Don't rush it because you don't want to go into a rage. You want to have everything planned out. So, and that's for Saturday. Once Thursday, Friday, and Sunday they kind of subside, but still, it's still going to be a madhouse with what's going on out there because we've never had that. I don't think John Cleese was a cancel and return. Sam Raimi is his first time. Chevy Chase is his first time. So we have a lot of first time.
Hayden Christensen, that's his first time.
Hayden Christensen will be his first time. So this is amazing. How many guests? And again, we'll be your Dalek will be your Doctor Who Dalek representation.
Doctor Who people, I don't think. Well,
fingers crossed. I know they're talking. I just know they're talking, but fingers crossed out there.
Yeah, I don't know if there's going to be any more last minute add-ons. There sometimes is because cancellations will start happening, and I'm hoping there's going to be more Star Wars.
Mark Robinson says, FYI, Friday, March 17th, Red Nose Day, comic relief.
Yeah.
That will be the Doctor part in, I think that's when Lenny Henry gave David Tennant his coat for Ncuti Gatwa, and the coat is just rumor. Lenny Henry, well, for those of you who are in the UK, they're going to have Red Nose Day. Hopefully we'll get to see a video or YouTube video of it.
David is hosting either way.
Yes. Yeah, catch him out. We'll keep an eye on that, and we'll get much more news when we find out what's going on with Red Nose Day. But it's a great charity. They've done it every year in the UK, and if you just happen to be out there and you can give, go for it and help out.
St. Patrick's Day.
I was just about to say that.
Is it now? Okay.
Patrick's Day, 17th. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh gosh, and Begora.
Wear some green. Wear some green when you're doing
and
that.
your rose nose.
So, without further ado, let's we're going to go ahead and call it a night. Next week we'll be reviewing The End of the World, which is the next episode out there. And then keep an eye out on our YouTube and our Facebook page because we will be announcing our second celebrity of the year. We know who it is. Some of them
fell out of my chair, and I was at work when I saw the email come back.
Like, okay. I would agree with that, Andrew. Spinoff featuring Katie Manning. That would be nice if she's up for it.
That lady is a bowl of energy.
She is.
So everybody, make sure you're catching Brian as Dr. Freedom on the YouTube channel. You can just go on YouTube, type in Dr. Freedom, you'll find him. He's putting out everything on Monday through Friday, and whenever news drops, you can catch him out in this parking lot where he's just
you gotta do something while he's there.
Yeah.
Wait,
there you go down there.
Melanie Dean, early.
The lovely Melanie Dean. Go on her Instagram at Pieces of Melee and check out her new stuff. And I think you are designing your cosplay for Star Wars.
Yes, I am frantically going as fast as I can to finish up. If you watch The Bad Batch, I'm doing Sid. So I finished the head. I've finished sculpting the head. I finished sculpting the arms. I'm now going to be making latex mold. I'm going to be making hydrocal molds, pouring latex, pulling latex, painting latex. Oh, good God. Yeah. So go follow me on Instagram. I go on there and I put a lot of stuff up there.
And now self-declared son of Russell T Davies, finally, Kevo. Check him out on Husbands
Listen
Talking
to you, baby.
Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
X's for show. X's for show.
Going to talking for DC and Marvel. These guys are going to be talking about Husbands Talking more or less. So thank you all for joining us. Don't forget to say goodbye on the way out as we say goodbye. Video, and we end everything when we say, Tony, take us out.